All right, let's dive right into a topic that is completely reshaping our world as we speak: artificial intelligence. And look, this isn't just about some new app or a cool gadget. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how we live, how we work, and maybe even how we think. So, let's get into it. For so long, AI was just something you saw in the movies, right? It was pure science fiction. Well, not anymore. It's here, and it's woven into our daily lives. From the apps on your phone to the systems running your workplace, AI has become this defining and a lot of times invisible force. It really is a total transformation, not just another tool in the toolbox. And the stakes? Well, they could not be higher. I mean, listen to this quote from Professor Stuart Russell. He calls this the most profound change in human history. That's the scale we're talking about here. So yeah, understanding this isn't just a nice to have, it's absolutely essential.
So if this change is so profound, where's it all coming from? You might think it's bubbling up from scientists in some hidden lab, but the truth is, this revolution is actually being led from the boardroom.
Yep, right now, this whole AI wave is being driven by the business world. It's managers, it's leaders and organizations who are making these huge decisions about how to use this technology. And believe me, the choices they're making today are going to have massive consequences for every single one of us. Okay, so to really get a handle on those consequences, we got to make sure we're all speaking the same language. So let's just zoom in for a minute and break down a few core ideas, starting with the big one. What even is AI?
You know, the European Commission actually gives us a really solid definition to work with. AI systems don't just follow a script. They analyze what's going on around them and act with some degree of autonomy to hit their goals. That word right there, autonomy, that's the key.
And that brings us to something that trips a lot of people up: the difference between automatic and autonomous. Think about it like this. An automatic system follows fixed rules. If this happens, then do that. Your simple home thermostat? That's automatic. But an autonomous system, that's way more flexible. It makes adaptive decisions to reach a goal, kind of like a self-driving car trying to get through rush hour traffic. Big difference.
Now, what about robots? The official technical definition is super specific. A robot is a reprogrammable, multi-purpose manipulator. That word, manipulator, is everything. It implies a physical presence, the ability to actually do something in the real world. And this really shows you the huge gap between what we think a robot is, some kind of sci-fi humanoid, and what it actually is. A robot is just a machine that can physically interact with its environment. It doesn't matter if it looks like a person or a factory arm.
So that leads to a perfect question. Are chatbots robots? Well, based on what we just learned, the answer is a clear no. AI doesn't need a body. A chatbot is definitely autonomous in how it comes up with text, but it has no physical form. It can't pick something up or move around a room.
Okay, so now let's see how these ideas all come together in the complex systems that we're all starting to use every single day. These aren't just simple programs. There's something new that researchers are calling AI-infused systems. And these systems are just different from any software we've used before. For one, they're adaptive. They literally learn from you and change their behavior over time. They can also be opaque, which is a fancy way of saying it's like a black box. It's really hard to see why it made a specific decision. They're also probabilistic, meaning they work on what's likely, not what's certain, which is why they sometimes get things wrong. And this is crucial. They have a huge data dependency. They are only as good as the data you feed them. Let's make this feel a bit more real. Imagine a financial analyst using a tool like IBM's Watson X. They feed it a ton of market data, and the AI spits out a high-risk score for an investment. Okay, great. But because of that opacity we just talked about, the analyst is left wondering why. A really well-designed system doesn't stop there. It offers an explanation, turning that mysterious black box into a real collaborator and helping the human make a smarter, more informed decision.
So let's zoom back out. What does this new kind of partnership between humans and AI actually mean for our jobs, for the world of work, for the entire global economy? Well, let me tell you, the numbers are absolutely staggering.
First off, let's just look at the size of the AI market itself. By 2030, which is just around the corner, the global AI industry is projected to be worth almost $740 billion. That's the mind-boggling amount of money and energy pouring into this technology as we speak. But what about the bigger picture, the ripple effect on the whole economy? The predicted boost to global GDP from AI is a jaw-dropping $15.7 trillion. To give you some perspective, that is more than the entire current GDP of China. It's an economic earthquake.
And this isn't just happening at some high-level global scale. When you bring it down to individual people and their employers, some companies are already seeing a 30% jump in employee productivity just by using AI tools. This isn't a forecast for the future. This is happening in offices right now.
But all this talk about money and productivity isn't just about doing the same old stuff faster. There's a much deeper change going on. Abe McCormick has this amazing way of putting it. He says that AI, when you pair it with our own intelligence, turns us from cog workers into cognitive athletes.
The whole idea here is that AI can take over all the boring, repetitive, process-heavy tasks, and that frees up our brains for the things that we humans are uniquely good at: creativity, critical thinking, and solving really complex problems. The future of work isn't about us being replaced. It's about us leveling up.
And that brings us to our final and honestly our most important point. This whole technological revolution, it isn't some destiny that's already written for us. It's a series of choices. And this moment, right now, is a critical one for all of humanity.
As Aid McCormick also points out, this is a really delicate time for us. These massive technological and economic cycles are all resetting at once, and history shows us that those periods are almost never smooth. The decisions we make today about how we build and use AI are going to echo for generations.
This whole AI-driven moment is a massive wake-up call. It's our opportunity to redesign work, to rediscover our creativity, and to build a world that is actually more human-centric. So the final question is pretty simple. Humanity is being given a second chance. What are we going to do with it?